Welcome to Mini Stories, where we will be listening to the story, The Unexpected Joy of Four Paws. It was supposed to be an ordinary day, one of those mundane weekdays that blur into the next. I woke up late, my alarm blaring insistently until I smacked it off the nightstand. My father was already gone for work, having left me a sticky note on the fridge reminding me to eat breakfast. Dad was always like that, thoughtful, loving, and a bit overbearing since Mom passed away. He'd been both mother and father to me, juggling two roles with grace but at the cost of his own happiness. I knew he worked himself to the bone to give me a life where I wouldn't feel the void Mom left behind. That morning, I had no idea it would be my last. It happened on my way to school. A careless driver ran a red light, and before I could even register what was happening, the world went black. When I opened my eyes, it wasn't to the sterile white of a hospital room. Instead, the world around me was larger, brighter, and sharper. Sounds were crisper, scents were overwhelming, and my body felt wrong. I looked down and froze. Instead of my hands, I saw paws. My heart raced as I stumbled forward, the unfamiliar sensation of walking on four legs throwing me off balance. What the? I tried to speak, but all that came out was a bark. Panic set in as I tried to piece together what had happened. I was dead, of that much I was sure. But instead of fading into nothingness, I'd been reborn. And not as a human, but as a dog. The days that followed were a blur of confusion and instinct. I wandered the streets, a small stray with no home. Hunger gnawed at my belly, and the cold bit at my fur. It was a far cry from the warm, comfortable life I'd had before. But then, fate, or maybe something greater, intervened. I found myself outside my old home one rainy evening. The sight of it sent a pang through my chest. The lights were on, and through the window, I saw him, my dad. He sat at the dining table, his head in his hands. The apartment looked the same, but emptier, devoid of the warmth it once held. My absence was like a physical presence in the room, a gaping void that he couldn't escape. Without thinking, I barked. He looked up, startled, his tired eyes meeting mine through the rain-streaked window. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then, as if compelled by some unseen force, he came to the door and opened it. "You poor thing," he murmured, kneeling in front of me. His voice was hoarse, like he hadn't spoken much in days. "You're soaked to the bone." I whimpered, leaning into his touch as he gently stroked my fur. "Come inside," he said softly. And just like that, I was home again. Adjusting to life as a dog was strange, but being with Dad made it bearable. He named me Luna, saying it reminded him of me, the moonlight in the dark. He didn't know how right he was. Living as a dog, I saw sides of my father I hadn't fully appreciated in my human life. He carried an unbearable weight of grief, one he tried to hide but couldn't. Nights were the hardest. I often found him sitting by my old room, staring at the closed door as if expecting me to walk out. I wanted to comfort him, to tell him I was still here. But all I could do was nuzzle him, lick his hand, and stay close. He poured all his love into me, spoiling me with treats, toys, and long walks in the park. I became his constant companion, the one thing that brought a flicker of joy back into his life. Over time, I noticed subtle changes in Dad. He started smiling more, laughing at my antics when I chased my tail or barked at the mailman. He began talking to me like I was human, sharing his thoughts and memories. "I miss her so much," he said one night, his voice breaking as he sat on the couch with me curled up beside him. "You remind me of her, you know? Her spirit, her kindness. It's like she sent you to me." If only he knew. I made it my mission to help him heal. When he stayed up late working, I nudged him until he went to bed. When he seemed lost in thought, I distracted him by dropping a toy in his lap. Slowly but surely, the spark returned to his eyes. One evening, Dad pulled out an old photo album. He flipped through the pages, his fingers lingering on pictures of us together. "She would have loved you, Luna," he said, his voice soft. I barked in response, wagging my tail. Then, something extraordinary happened. It was as if he finally saw me, not as a dog, but as something more. His gaze lingered, his brow furrowing in thought. You're so much like her, he murmured. I froze, my heart pounding. Did he know? Could he sense the truth? He didn't say anything more, but from that day forward, our bond grew even stronger. It was as if he understood, on some unspoken level, that I was more than just a dog. Years passed, and Dad rebuilt his life. He started dating again, a kind woman named Evelyn who adored me just as much as he did. Watching him smile and laugh with her filled me with a bittersweet joy. I stayed by his side through it all, his loyal companion and silent guardian. Even as my body aged and slowed, my love for him never wavered. On my final day, as I lay in his arms, I felt a deep sense of peace. Thank you, Luna, he whispered, tears streaming down his face. For everything. As my eyes closed for the last time, I felt his love envelop me. And in that moment, I knew I had fulfilled my purpose. I had been his moonlight in the dark, just as he had been mine. The end. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, like, comment, share and subscribe.